Okay, now I will show you some of the results of our mapping exercise. This mapping exercise is one of the main objectives of this project. With the achievement of this objective, we have gathered the data required to perform the analysis to identify the gaps between industrial needs and current educational offer. As Anders explained earlier, the basis of this study is the account of previously identified sets of general and specific competencies and their corresponding sub-competencies. The mechanisms used to identify these sets of competencies and sub-competencies were interviews performed to relevant stakeholders from industry, a dynamic workshop where UrBIOfuture's working group members and industrial expert group were invited to contribute, as well as several reference documents and reports. In addition to these sets of competencies, other variables were observed in the analysis of these educational programs. For example, the type of program, the didactical methodologies used, and the involvement of in-company activities. With this study, we can also map the contents and sectors of applications of the programs that these programs are addressing. It is important to note, as Anders explained earlier, that all the items used for the mapping of educational programs are cross-referenced with the industrial survey in order to enable the gaps identification. So we identified 11 general competencies and 5 specific competencies, each of them including a set of related sub-competencies. On the screen, you can see the 11 general competencies. And these are the 5 specific competencies. We used a Google template to collect all the information in a comparable way and in English, which was also a challenge, especially with lower education programs that are usually published in the national languages only. So for this mapping information gathered, we ended up with 1,228 educational programs across 26 European countries, though we finally analyzed 912. This sample reduction is the result of discarding identical programs implemented by different institutions. The sample analyzed included programs from different educational levels. 12% of them were PhD programs, 46% were master's programs, 35% undergraduate, and 7% vocational and education and training. It was easier to find higher education level programs related to bioindustry because they tend to be international, or there is a mobility component which is not in the vocational education and training programs, which are more local. The types of program analyzed, most of them were on-site. A few of them were blended, and it says 0% online, but actually there was only one master's that we found with an online methodology. And some of them, like 12% of them, did not show any information on this regard. Regarding in-company training, which is a very important component of these type of programs, the good news is that 55% of them showed this component in their training, whereas 10% didn't include this collaboration with companies, and unfortunately 35% did not provide this information. Regarding the didactical methodology used in these programs, we have 27% master class, which is the traditional teaching lecture-based. 21% though is laboratory activities, which give us an explanation also on the type of training that is performed, which is very experimental as well. 13% of these programs use project-based learning, 9% case studies, 8% collaborative learning, and 7% problem-based learnings. Regarding the academic field, according to the European skills, competencies, qualifications, and occupations, and the application sectors, which is the industrial sectors they address, these are the most cited in all the programs: scientific and technical activities, agriculture, forestry and fishery, energy, water supplies, sewage and waste management, manufacturing of food, beverages and tobacco, human health and social services. Regarding industrial application sectors, biotechnology, agriculture, food products, chemical sector, bioenergy, feed and pharmaceuticals. And this is it. Thank you very much.